Today we have Josh Wong um, sharing with us about his life in the eastern provinces of Canada. I remember
Hello.
uh, way back 30 some odd 40 years ago, I arrived Canada, but I was in the central part of Canada, which is extremely cold. And um, Josh, it's good to have you appearing at our channel.
Thanks for having me.
Josh, tell us something about yourself. I know you were born in Canada and then you relocate back to Hong Kong around 1997 and you left Hong Kong again when you were 15 or 16, something like that. Yeah.
Right. So, one of the things I decided to move back to Canada was that there was such a huge exam we have to write in Hong Kong in order to get into university. That was the
DSE,
Diploma of
right?
Secondary Education.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
the
DSE.
DSE, right?
I figure if there's a way to kind of bypass that and still make my way into university, so um, I just kind of moved to Newfoundland and kind of start my high school there and to move on to university in there afterwards. So here I am for now.
So from grade 10 to grade 12, you were in Newfoundland, a very cold
Yes,
place, I guess. Not a lot of people like central part of Canada, like the province of Manitoba or Saskatchewan. Yeah,
it's not as bad compared to the prairies, to be
yeah,
honest. One of the things is that it's not as cold because it's a very coastal city and a province. It's right in the most easterly tip of the North America, so you actually can stand at the most easterly point of the continent um, to basically view the breeze. So
yeah.
because it's facing the ocean, it's not as cold. You can get up to about minus 20 tops in your winter. The precipitation, such as snow, you would get a whole lot comparing to the prairies.
Yeah.
That's the kind of the downside. But apart from that, it's not as dry, it's not as cold, so to speak,
Yeah. So
weather-wise.
they were like some so-called four eastern provinces. Now, I just found out that Newfoundland actually there is a longer form to pronounce it as Newfoundland and Labrador. I didn't know the
Yes.
second part. So when I was in Canada, it's just called Newfoundland. When did they add the Labrador? I didn't realize that.
So Labrador was part of the Newfoundland colony
Yeah.
before it joined Canada in 1949. But we only started calling Newfoundland and Labrador around 2000.
Okay.
So that would be the term, yeah.
Okay. So that's the year when I relocate back to Asia. So that's why I don't know anything. But anyways, the four provinces, that's Newfoundland and Labrador, New Brunswick, and then what, PEI, and then Nova Scotia, right?
Yes.
Which place is most famous for lobster?
Mm,
All of the four provinces.
they're pretty good. I think all four. PI is famous
Yeah,
usually, but Nova Scotia, you get your basically your quantity of it.
yeah. Okay. Talk about Newfoundland. I'm just looking at the map from the other screen. It's very big, actually, compared to the other three provinces,
Yes,
comparatively speaking.
yes, it is. It
Okay.
is. It is the largest province out in the Atlantic Canada,
Okay.
so it is huge.
Yeah. So when you were there, when you first landed, um, Newfoundland and Labrador, which city did you reside?
I lived in St. John's, which is the capital city,
Yes.
but there are also a lot of great places in Newfoundland for people to visit. Unfortunately, because it's a relatively small populated province, there are only two cities in the province, which is Cornerbrook and St. John's.
Right. Right. And I guess you might have some friends or relatives who went there to study, who lived there before. Otherwise, it's no, I don't know a lot of people who go to the so-called Atlantic provinces. It's
Yeah.
unique, put it this way.
put it that way. One of the most attractive way to get people to go to the East Coast is it is cheap to study in Newfoundland and also a few other provinces. So for domestic students, it's about 1,500 per semester. So you basically finish a degree about 12,000, so to speak, comparing to other provinces. However, I did have family out around Newfoundland, and I did have some families in central Newfoundland, out around Bishop Falls and Grand Falls area.
Okay.
And also, I did have siblings around in the city, in St. John's. Yeah.
Okay. And then you went to university in Newfoundland?
Oh yes, just to mention, I have a little cup there just to show I went to Mon, honestly.
Memorial University must be the biggest
Yes.
one in Newfoundland.
There's only one university in the province, so it is the biggest.
Okay. Okay. What's the population size? I mean, student population wise?
It's give or take, it's about 10,000. It does build up quite a bit as there is a growth of international students coming along.
Right.
But yeah, it mostly stays around that number.
Okay. And the capital city is called St. John's, is it?
Yes,
Yeah.
St. John's. Yeah, not to confuse with St. John, New Brunswick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you first arrived there, do you feel kind of a homesick, or are you okay because you have family members there? Or just think is like great because you can get away from home and
I think it's that because I was 15, I didn't really know better in that sense. I didn't quite have a lot of homesick because I seen as that I was free, so I didn't quite have quite a bit of homesick, and because the thing is that Newfoundlanders are quite friendly
right.
in meeting people from coming from away. So it's the term called CFA. People are coming from away. They would have a lot of rituals to welcome them, such as screeching in and different other rituals in welcoming newcomers. So you blend in quite a bit.
Okay. Don't confuse CFA as Chartered Financial Analyst.
Yes, that's enough.
Away. Okay. Because people aspire to be a CFA in Hong Kong. All right. So the school itself, I guess you spend a lot of time at Memorial University, other
Yes,
than
I guess.
sleep and do whatever, right? So that's
I
kind of
scribble and I study. I guess I had some fun.
well, I'm not going to ask you about the winter time. I know it's severe. How about summertime? Is it pretty?
Newfoundland, it's pretty gorgeous in summertime. You have dive in. So it is amazing, and because the city is very old, it's one of the most it's one of the oldest European settlements in North America because John Cabot landed in Newfoundland around 1497. So there are a lot of historical sites in Newfoundland, and we used to be our own country before joining. So there are a lot of unique sites and rituals, and also activities in the summer. So it is an amazing time to stay around Newfoundland in the summer.
Okay. Can you tell us what are the most popular majors at Memorial?
Memorial. So for MUN, there is a med school. There is a medicine school of medicine. There is study related items such as ocean mapping and a few other items. So these are some of the unique and famous programs here in the province. Apart from that, as the other normal programs as in other university, you have business, health-related programs such as kinesiology, social work, and a few others, and also nursing. They are still these are still one of the popular subjects in the university.
Right. Tell us about winter, Josh. I know, like it's well, you call it what Snowmageddon. You just had that in one of
Right.
the eastern provinces. Tell us what that means.
A Snowmageddon basically just a come-up term from Armageddon.
Yeah.
Basically, because we had so much snow over the winter in 2020 in January, the province issued a state of emergency because there is literally too much snow to clear, and there is nowhere or no way to clear in a matter of days. And they did use the military afterwards just to shovel. So Snowmageddon, because of so much snow that really literally blocks your door, your doorway, your windows, everything you can see on the streets. People start to ski around downtown. People start to use skidoo and different equipments they have to just play around the city and also outside in a rural area in the community. So that's kind of the small gist of Snowmageddon. But we do have harsh winter at times for the amount of snow that we do get. But that's about it. Also, a very strong wind.
Now, just want to ask, most people would like to go to Ontario or British Columbia because
Yes.
they've got relatives, friends there. But for those who want to have, who are more adventurous, let's say, put it this way, I guess Atlantic Canada could be a very good place to mingle with different people, right? Not just
It is.
people from Hong Kong. What's how is it like when you go through the application process? Now I know you are different because you were born in Canada, and it's like you were relocated back, and then you
Yeah.
had 3 years of high school.
Yeah.
Is it difficult, the admissions process? When should they apply? Do they have to take IELTS or TOEFL? In our time, 30, 40 years ago, people take TOEFL. And
Mhm.
then I guess IELTS becomes a more popular standardized test. So
Right.
what's the procedure like?
Um, I think it depends on which way you're coming in. For students coming from to Newfoundland to start high school or join in middle of high school, they do not need to use or take an IELTS unless they do not have an equivalent level of English, such as level 3 English, to finish the high school.
Right.
So to just apply Canadian universities, you can still take the IELTS, score it highly, and get into university, or to apply for the exam called the CAEL, the Canadian Academic English Language exam. That is an exam just for applying for universities in Canada. It is relatively more easier than the IELTS and also cheaper. So that can be an alternative route for people who would like to actually study in universities, not just in Newfoundland, but in Canada in general, to think about.
What is it called again? This is one test I have never heard of.
The CAEL, the CAEL, Canadian Academic English Language exam.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. And do you think, well, since we're under COVID, everything is kind of a lockdown, but if they aspire to go for the September, the fall admission, I guess they
Right.
have 9 months to work on, right? Still got
Mhm.
time, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I mean a lot of people are thinking about alternatives now. So Newfoundland is definitely a place that I know nothing of. So it's good to have an expert to tell us
Yes.
about the province and the city of St. John's. Let's switch topic a bit
Okay.
for 2 or 3 minutes. I want to talk about Hong Kong, and you have been um, outside of Hong Kong for a long while, and I know some of you people in the eastern provinces or Atlantic provinces, they don't care a lot about what's going on with the NSL, the National Security Law that was enacted 6 months ago, and also the pro-democracy movement from 2019, the second half of 2019. I guess from, I shouldn't use the word outsider's perspective, but from someone who is overseas now, do you still, how do you still get connected with the news of what's going on? And obviously, I'm not in San Francisco now. I'm still in Hong Kong. Just used to backdrop, right? So how do you guys still can care about what's going on?
I think since the protest started in 2019, I started to subscribe Apple Daily. That's one important press that I do focus a lot on in following what's happening in Hong Kong in a very tight manner. And you get to see quite a bit of commentator to comment about what's happening in Hong Kong. Apart from that, because what's happening in Hong Kong is not just a Hong Kong matter, it's a world matter. We do see it a lot on CBC, BBC, Washington Post, and a lot of different major mainstream media. So it's not hard to follow what's happening in Hong Kong if you have the intention to do so. So that's how we have been trying to keep up to date with that, and also following up with my friends in Hong Kong, just to know that we're up to date, and let them know that we know what's happening so far. We're not that behind.
I see. Well, thank you for being acutely aware of what's going on. And I guess one last thing I want to ask you, which I haven't done yet, is what was your major when you were at university?
I did. It's all right. So my first year was a mist because I wasn't even know what I was doing. So I tried
like
it
me,
on social
I don't know.
work.
I was minoring in dance, which you can see how much weight I gained over the last 4 years or so.
It's really hard to do something to start first year and then continue to finish that from the first year. I find that. So from the second year, I applied for kinesiology. I got in, and I finished it with the kin degree, basically.
Kinesiology, is it like sports science?
It is quite similar. It is to study human movement through quite a few aspects in anatomy, in physiology, in biomechanics, sometimes psychology, and also research, which is a very heavily studied matter.
Right. So you know a lot about the human joints. Thoughts, injuries, I guess, is another big thing.
I guess I do have some knowledge about it. I wouldn't say I know everything. Yeah.
I see. Well, thank you so much, Josh. And I wish you could send me some pictures about the Snowmageddon from the eastern provinces.
I think you can definitely Google that. That is easier than me to send you some. They definitely got better than that.
Right. And then people know what that is. Let me stop the recording for now.